Hey guys, Rabbit here, back with another Starcraft Broodwar Remastered cast, and today we have a PvZ for you on Vermeer. This is a game that came to me from Hawk, one of the best foreign Broodwar Zerg players, probably in the world. Definitely a very high level S Rank player. He was kind enough to send me this game. He said, hey, I played this guy, Boa, I think they played on ladder. It might have been a friendly game, can't be too sure of that. I did look up Boa's stats. He's spawning here in the bottom left. Red Protoss, and he is a 2450 S Rank Protoss player. So this is certainly going to be a very, very high level game. Hawk said to me, hey Rabbit, this game I really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun. I think you're going to enjoy casting it. So thank you very much, Hawk, for the replay. I'm certainly looking forward to watching you play. So let's go, man. It's going to be good. So a forward pylon, as is the standard meta. Tend to see higher level S rank Protosses go gateway expand. So this is exactly what this looks like based on the positioning. It tends to just give Protoss a little bit of an opportunity to force out some early lings and to put some pressure on our Zerg player. Okay, so I remain on a mission to say I'm less. I pointed this out in a recent cast that I say I'm far too much, and I am going to do my utmost to stop doing it or reducing it. Perhaps I'm shooting myself in the foot by pointing out that I do it, but I don't know. I believe in honesty. This is definitely a friendly game. This is not Vermeer. This is a double gas. So this is a two-player map. These are friends playing, but they certainly look like they're going to be having a lot of fun. Okay, so it wasn't on ladder, but thankfully I did look up the stats of both players. So this is just a friendly game between these two. They're obviously practice partners, and we're harassing our drones to block the hatch, which is very mean. So ouch. So the pool is done. A couple of lings are coming out, probably just to tidy up these very annoying probe that is blocking here. Let's see if he cancels this pylon. Hawk did throw down the second hatchery here. Anyway, so his build's not really going to be too disrupted. Depending on how the Protoss open and how many zealots he builds, it probably means he's going to throw down his third pretty soon. But unfortunately for the time being, he needs to prioritize lings just to take care of these zealots. And the zealot is not going a direct route. He is going to look for the hatchery, and this is just skill on display. The sense of anticipation, knowing where he has taken a hatchery and harassing there is really good. Hello, it's over here! Hello! Okay, well, so much for that. Meanwhile, we have a gateway and a couple of probes and a zealot holding the ramp. My question always in this scenario is, what do you target as the Zerg? Is it the pylon? Is it the zealots? What do you do? And of course, the Zergs come, the Protoss is walled straight into the main where there are very few lings to try and harass some drones. This is a very busy start to this game. So the Overlord is here. The lings are on their way back to fight the Zealot. How many kills you got, Mr. Zealot? One? Okay. So he goes behind the mineral line here. It's probably just going to try and get us around and tidy this up. I reckon the plan now from the Protoss is just to transition into a regular build. There he does start his Nexus. The next plan would be to get the gas going. Because obviously he's open gateway. And you want to try and get some Corsairs into the equation as soon as possible. So the Zealot here is just parked off going, hey guys, I can see, no, I'm dead, because I'm surrounded. Ouch. Not optimal to fight like this. A little bit of micro from both players. Trying to get as much value as he can. So Lea's on its way. 3 hatches. I think Hawk is in a very strong position. Although that being said, our Protoss friend has not stopped building zealots, and this hatchery is in serious trouble. We'll put up the health meter here to see. I do see some blue Zerglings on their way down here. They are slow Zerglings, but there's a fair amount of them. He really wants us to save this hatch. And this is going to be... Okay, this is quite a few lings. And now they're kind of being cornered here. Zealots are in a position where they can probably fight because they can't be surrounded from all angles. I think there's enough lings here to... Oh, but another Zealot rocks up. Damn, the unrelenting Zealot pressure. Certainly demonstrating the power of the gateway expand open from Protoss. He's just kind of running around over the Zealot, and he's been tidied up. And well done by Hawk. Good pressure from the Protoss. Good composure from the Zerg. Forge is up. Nexus is expanding. The APM of these players, 340 from our Protoss player, 280 from our Zerg player. This is high level, high quality PvZ, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a privilege to be bringing it to you. Alright, so are we going Spire? Yes, we are. Okay, so just to perhaps counter the Corsairs, time will tell. It does seem to be potentially setting up for maybe some Mutalisks or potentially a 5-hatch Hydra build. I've never watched this sort of rank of Hawk's games. I watched his F2S stream, and I do know he is, and I have watched a lot of his stuff over the years, but I have not seen a lot of his competitive games, his high S rank games against Protoss. So I don't really know if he has a tendency, if he likes playing 5-hatch Hydra, if he likes playing with Mutas to try and, for example, pick off high Templars. I don't know his style, so I'm looking forward to understanding and learning his style of play as much as the rest of us are. So that's potentially makes this even more exciting to see, well, what does he do when he's gone with the Lair and the Spire? Does he build Mutas? There's always a debate about the value of Mutas in PvZ. I believe there certainly are. They're really good for economic harassment. They keep the Protoss player honest, forcing you to build cannons everywhere, forcing your scouting to be really good so you can understand what the plans are of your Protoss opponent. So Spire is in and the Scourge comes. So this just looks like pretty standard stuff. So the Scourge are there to repel the Corsairs, of course. And this hatchery in the natural tells me now we're probably progressing to a 3 base 5 or 6 hatch Hydra build. Another hatchery coming up here, so I'm certainly smelling Hydras in the not too distant future in this game. There is no den as of yet, so let's see when that pops into the production tab. The Evo is on its way. Here comes the Hydralist den now, so it does look like 5-6 hatch Hydra. One of the favorites, one of the more conventional meta builds, so it'll be nice to see how Hawk plays the style. A couple of cannons in the main to block the scouting, and as an insurance policy against the little Muta switch, couple of cannons here as well, so very, very neat and tidy. Probably see the Protoss player add a couple more cannons in the front once he scouts that it's going to be Hydras, or when he feels like the Hydras are incoming, to put on some pressure. 5-6 hatch Hydra is really, really powerful from a macro point of view, where they can push out lots of Hydras really fast, and if our Protoss doesn't have Storm yet, he's going to be in trouble. So Hawk moving around his Scourge here, scouting the bases, getting an information, gate counts, etc. Our Protoss player is still just on 1 gate, so Hawk really isn't going to be vulnerable to any pressure. In fact, this is a double Stargate build, so huge amounts of pressure from Corsairs is imminent. I do not see the double Stargate build very often. It is an incredibly advanced build to pull off, but it looks like Hawk is going to counter this with Hydras, because his number of Scourge that he has on the map has not increased. In fact, he just has these 2, shall we call them, scouting Scourge, and that is it. He has some Lings on the map, he has some Hydras. So the big question in the initial skirmishes in this match will be, where do these Corsairs go? I think they will be supported by the Zealots, and maybe like a little Corsair Zealot push. The Templar Archives is not yet up at 8 minutes. The Citadel just finishes. It'll be interesting to see. He does have the gas if he throws down the Templar Archives immediately and tries to throw sort of DT into this build. Okay, random little cannon here that belongs to nobody. It's one of these funky wonky maps. There's still no Templar Archives, adding to the gate count. So what damage do these Corsairs get done? Let's see. Okay, so he's clustered his overlords together, flanked by loads of Hydras. I think the advantage of this build for Protoss is it does definitely keep the Zerg Hydras at home. The minute he moves his Hydras down the map, all of your overlords are just pretty much wrecked. So he's like, okay, well, I'll research overlord speed, and I will move my overlords and my Hydras down together, and you are going to have a unit deficit because you have got Zealots and nothing else. In fact, your Templar Archives has only started now, it's about to finish. So you are in for a world of pain if you cannot figure out a good counter. So he is counter playing a little bit with the Corsairs. Obviously a player of his skill level, nearly 400 APM, can micro his Corsairs while preparing for this fight, but this just does seem like a really huge influx of Hydras. You can see he kind of panic builds 4 cannons behind this, knowing here come the Hydras, boys, in big mass. He was actually, I think, setting up for a 3rd here, thinking that the Corsairs were going to give him map control. But of course, the speed on the Overlords was a real difference maker. So here comes the pressure. A couple of Overlords dying in the background. This is a lot of Hydras here. No storming coming yet, so I think he's going to lose his gateway. He doesn't have a upgrade coming from this forge at the moment. I would be curious to see if he has another forge in the main. I'm not going to pan away from this fight because this is quite juicy. This is a lot of Hydras here, and I don't really know what's killing them. Yes, these Corsairs are coming in, and I think it's helpful because it does distract some of the Hydras. Some of these Hydras are turning away from the main battle to deal with the Corsairs. Some of them fly away. The line of cannons is pretty deep, and here come the DTs, and I think that was probably what he was waiting for. Now the Overlords are all gone, so the DT should be able to chase these Hydras away, and here he pulls them back. Unfortunately, any Overlord that he rallies forward is just getting wrecked by these Corsairs because he's got so many of them, so these DTs are just going to have an absolute field day. What a game. So when people tell you this is how you play Corsair DT, then here's the clinic. Here come the Overlords, and there go the Overlords. This is just probably so frustrating as a Zerg player. 53 out of 45 supply is Hawk. He is in a world of pain, but his Hydras do come back to the safety of one Overlord, two Overlords, and that'll do the trick. And then he moves forward again. He doesn't want to sort of rest on his laurels too much. I think this was a golden opportunity for our Protoss player to take a third base, get his storm researched if he hasn't already. The High Templars are here charging up their energy. He's got plenty of cannons. Probably rebuilt his forge. He didn't lose his forge, I'm being an honor. But he's not running any upgrades, which I find a little bit surprising because of how well Protoss upgrades scale against Zerg in this match. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of items everywhere you look. Another base down here, so Hawk, in spite of taking a few casualties, probably feels quite comfortable. I mean, it is 76 to 71. He does have the army lead, and a reluctance from Boa to take this third base at this stage. Probably the right thing. I think he's probably feeling a little bit vulnerable. What happens to all his Corsairs, by the way? I don't see a single Corsair. His Corsairs must have died to Hydras. That is a problem, because these Dark Templars are not going to achieve anything without Corsair support. Oh, he's hitting an egg. It's out of range. Oh, dead Hydra. Hydra's coming around there. It'll take care of this DT in no time at all, surrounding him so he can't get away. Up, 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 run, run! And he's gone. Okay, so Protoss this time deciding, you know what? I have now got Speedling, a Speed Zealot with +1. I'm going to take some of these Hydras head on. I don't think he has the numbers though. He's got a lot of Hydras here and some Lurkers. And the Lurkers are going to be a real difference maker. Let's have a look at our tech tree. Where's our Robo, sir? Starting another upgrade, probably +2 attack. No, it's +1 defense. We do not have a Robo. So moving out onto the map now as Protoss is just not possible. We need to get our Robo into the production tab ASAP. We're getting Maelstrom. Ooh, that's spicy. We have to have a Robo because an observer is being built. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. Now where is your observatory? Does it matter? When does it exist? Pause. Observers are on their way out. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 basing Zerg against a very, very diverse 2 basing Protoss. He's decided he doesn't want to take this position despite having a probe and a pylon for what's felt like ages. He's going to want to try and take this position. He's got a lot of army that is kind of moving around, perusing the map. Hawk has little clusters of units, so some Hydras here. A lot of Overlords here with not very much protecting them. A heap of Lurkers being created here though, so that's why we have the goons out. 10 Lurkers at a time being morphed in. So the Protoss player just kind of posturing around, looking at where it would be best to go. Maybe pick off a stray Overlord, although these Hydras are going to move. They're not going to engage here because I think they've correctly identified this is probably all, if not most, of Protoss' army, and there is a lot of Storm with this. Couple of observers, good insurance. The Dark Archon's here to do a little Maelstrom if he needs to. So here's an engagement, but there's a lot of Lurkers here, and this Hydra line runs pretty deep. Lurkers are getting a lot of good shots off here on our Zealots. High Templars are moving around, do throw down some beautiful storms here, also connecting with a few of the Lurkers, which is really good. Dark Archon's kind of like, hey guys, I'm here, I've arrived at the party. Maelstrom's an Overlord, and maybe a Hydra there. Not probably the most useful use of that spell, but hey, when in Rome, let's go. So the Templars are in front. It could potentially be targeted down, so the Lurkers do get one. Did they get another one here? Nice storm from that Hydra Templar at the back. And a fairly neutral trade there. 111 plays 100 basically. And I think Protoss probably correctly identifies here that no good moving in. He's going to lose too much, but he probably can't die either. And therefore postures into a new position, doing a probe transfer. So he's got his third up and running. Question now will be if he wants to try and take a fourth and when to do so. So Hydra Lurker with a little bit of Ling. Let's have a look if we have Hive Tech. We do. Let's have a look if we're getting in second Evo for double upgrades. We are. Not clear though what he wants to do with Hive Tech, if it's just for nothing other than potentially cracklings. Here is Adrenal coming in now, so it just looks like he wants to use it for cracklings in the meantime. And obviously you need the Hive to get your double upgrades going to strengthen your units as much as possible. So Hawk going with an upgrade-centric style. Our Protoss is on 1-1, seems to be researching +2 armor as opposed to +2 attack, which is interesting. But here he is engaging with a lot of Lurkers. He's got to climb up this hill here, but the penetration for him to break through that the High Templars is giving is really, really strong. So he's got a few Zealots in the front. The Dragoons are now kind of the backbone of this army. He has 3 observers flanking him, so not particularly vulnerable to an observer being sniped or picked off, which is a good play. A lovely storm on the drones. Probably got about 4 or 5 drones there, so that's proving to be a very, very profitable attack. It looks like Hawk's plan is to either counter or potentially flank this army as a trap. I don't know if there's enough units here to do this. Meanwhile, it's a whole heap of High Templars are very slowly making their way around. So this looks like a surround here from Hawk with cracklings who have been beautifully Maelstrom and stormed. Wow, that is really good reactions from my Protoss player. But more Lurkers are coming in here and surrounding. There are so many storms. The weather here on this map is absolutely treacherous. But more Hydras coming in, and like that High Templar ends up sort of storming himself to death. That was a really, really juicy fight. A lovely flank surround from Hawk. These High Templars are like, yeah, we don't fancy that. Let's go back home. So what a game. Let's have a look at our hatch count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 hatches? Feels a bit light. Here comes the 8th. So he's going back up to 8 hatches. And Protoss behind that attack is maybe a little bit gutsily, setting up a 4th. Strong economic position, although he's mined out here. So would probably look to transfer his workers to this part of the map. So we're looking at a split map game, PvZ. It's probably one of the most mouth-watering prospects you can get. Fully upgraded units on both sides. I'm pretty sure Hawk, being the skill player that he is, could introduce some Hive Tech like Defilers. And here, as I say, that the Defiler mount pops. I'm always excited to see Defiler Tech in a PvZ. You don't see it very often. It's really, really prevalent in ZVT, but you don't see it in PvZ very often. And I'll be very, very interested to see how Hawk utilizes what is a very powerful weapon, the Defiler, aka the Lizard. So no drops or anything like that as of yet. The engagements have all kind of been head-on, and it looks like Protoss is now looking to pressure this newest base that Hawk is trying to set up here in the adjacent area to this position. He does get some Lurkers in this position. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Lurkers, and it's only Zealots that run a little bit ahead here. 1 observer supporting only, but nothing they can shoot up here, so that doesn't really help. Archons will do really nicely because they've got it on top of these Lurkers. These Lurkers have all been chowed. Hawk's going to have to cancel this hatchery because it's going to go down. Interestingly enough, no flank this time. He seems to be moving units another way, maybe to counter pressure the newest base from our Protoss player seems to be the idea here. That hatch is gone and that's been denied, but he is just sending heaps of blue, knowing where his Protoss opponent is and how far he has to travel to reinforce here. It seems like a pretty good idea. This Overlord, I guess, was the sacrificial lamb just to check. Okay, so there really isn't that much here, so let's go. No Defilers as of yet to support this. He's busy researching Plague and getting ready for that, but I don't think he's going to use it for this particular engagement. So positioning his Lurkers in a good position here. These things are really, really strong, but that was a beautiful storm, taking out a few, and a lot more storms coming through here. So he's got some High Templars positioned to protect this base, buying a load of time for him to move his main units across, which is what's happening here. Lovely storm again. I think that Defiler got to eat that Ling before he died, but I don't think that Defiler is going to live to do anything. And that's the end of him. I love this death animation and that noise. Beautiful. Okay, so I think Hawk's best intentions to pressure this base were very, very well foiled by Bua, who is showing himself to be a fantastic Protoss player. Setting up to take what would now be a 5th base, but to get himself onto 3 mining bases, which would be stronger econ power than he's ever had in this game. It would be the peak point of his macro power. He hasn't had this much macro to date, and I think that makes him potentially even more terrifying than what he already is. Meanwhile, Hawk's going, okay, well, down here didn't work, so let's try up here. And that's kind of the challenge as Protoss, is you've got to keep your eyes peeled for any and all bases in expansion. So this position is blocked by this bloody, what is these things called again? Zalnaga Temple. Okay, so he's going back to try and block this space again. And I think he's gone with the same idea, which is basically lurkers and nothing that can shoot up. Protoss is like, okay, well, it worked for me last time. Pretty sure it's going to work for me this time. Yes, okay, a Darkstorm did come up, and the counter this time, the flank from the top down, killing all of the units that came to pressure the space. The cracklings are really doing a lot. You'll see as this game is evolving, there are fewer and fewer Hydralisks. It's basically becoming Ling Lurker, and against High-Tech, that's probably the right and only composition that Zerg really has at their disposal. A lot of Lurkers here, just ripping through these melee units. Lurkers are beautifully strong against them. A few High Templars have survived, throwing off a lot of storms, but that was really good. Hawk moved into the lead for the first time in this game, and I don't want to say that was an overextension from our Protoss. I want to say that that's probably something that Hawk anticipated would happen. Set up beautifully for the flank attack to kill a lot of the Protoss army, and I think now he has moved into a very strong position. He's got this base up and running, and in all likelihood, for the 3rd time trying, he may well get this one up and going as well. And if he's got this one going and this one going, he's going to be on 10, possibly even 12 hatch power. And that is just devastatingly powerful macro econ. Even a 3 mining based Protoss is going to have a very, very tough time dealing with that. What's his gate count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like 8 with one on the low ground being killed. So 8 gate production, which is the standard for the high level Protoss players. They're able to keep hitting their macro without missing any rounds. For dopes like us who don't play as well, usually you go up to about 10 or 11. That being said, with the 12, okay, this High Templar snuck in here. Throwing down a Storm and a few Lings, but he's now dead. And a Reaver's been snuck in here too, so a lovely drop. Unfortunately, I missed this. So that base I said that was established by the island, well, a very good counter to that is, of course, drops. So he has all but killed this because he can't get in. And I don't think his resource drops for his overlords. Oh no, Hawk, that is awful news. So kill the hatch, Mr. Reaver. This Reaver is having a really good day. Okay, so he said, well, I haven't got it right time 1, I haven't got it right time 2, let's try time 3. I think a bigger composition is his solution. So that's it. Oh, one more shot. Yes, so the Reaver does get that base. A very, very nice drop there. Unfortunately, I missed the shuttle going in, but a very, very good response to those inverted commas island bases is to do a drop. Surprisingly, it doesn't look like his overlords have drops. He's killed all the lava and the hatches there. Okay, so Hawk expecting a raid on this base has... Oh no! Drone transfer! War zones! Dead drones! Run, dronies, run! Okay, so he's actually got less than 50 drones, so really good econ harass from our Protoss player. He's actually deciding, screw this, I'm going to kill this damn thing, so I get in there and get rid of this Reaver. Meanwhile, nice big fight here on this hill again, trying to take down this position. There are so many hatcheries here. This is a potentially really strong target. Remember with Zerg, it isn't so much about the mining bases, it's the number of drones at the base and the number of hatches that you kill, because their hatches are also their production facilities, which makes them a little bit of a unique proposition to play against. Trying to keep that hatch count reasonable turns out to be very, very important, particularly the longer the game goes. So Protoss still moving in here, but it looks like he's going to hold this position. Some more Lings coming in to reinforce and potentially flank here again. I think his flank play has been really, really good. Again, the flank coming in here, going to pick off these remaining Dragoons, although the storms from this Protoss today have been so on point. It's been an absolute clinic. I might actually try and work that into the title. How to storm. Alright, so this damn thing has now finally died. I think the Reaver is probably going, like, shaking in his boots, going, okay, well, I had a good time, but my time is now. So go. Now you've got drops. So all that effort, and now you drop the units after they've cleared the way. Okay. Oh, shuttle. Alright, some Reavers coming in. This is the counter to the Lurkers. But oh, and the Plague on the Reavers. Nicely done. I didn't even see where the hell that damn Defiler was. I think he's going to flank this again, potentially. Although, oh my gosh. Look at the number of High Templars here. So he's just quietly and happily, although here comes the flank. Crap loads of links coming from the backside. And I think once he has them in position, he's going to move his in from the front as well to try and take down these Reavers. Although I don't see much movement in that regard. All of those lings that came down initially were beautifully stormed. The timing on this Protoss player's storms are just nuts. He's just so good at this. So here come a few links to try and pick them off. Another Plague, although the Plague doesn't really bother the High Templars that much because they have lower hit points, higher shields. A lovely storm again. More Zealots coming in. I think that now the Protoss might have enough power to overrun this position, although that being said, these Cracklings have really worked hard, and his Lurker spread from Hawk has been excellent. A lovely drop again. Great drone pull though. Really good reactions from Hawk. So that Scarab ends up dudding. He's picked up the Reaver again. Where's he going to put him? Ooh, don't come in here yet. It's an active war zone. Okay, we're going to follow the shuttle. It looks like he's just going home because this is where his base is. Oh, dead observer. One more Reavers here. I think a sign of a really strong and experienced Protoss player is their introduction of Reavers into the late game PvZ. They usually use it to defend bases against Hive Tech, and when Zerg starts introducing Dark Swarm, it's a really good counter for that. Using them offensively though is a sign of really high skill, you know, the drops, and to take down bases, to take down Lurkers with a range attack. And we've seen both sides from this Protoss player. I think that's really enjoyable to see. So we're moving on to the map again. You can see the High Templars now becoming Archons because of the number of lings that was a nice pick off. The number of lings that Hawk is using. And I think that's also a sign of experience, is knowing when to convert your High Templars into Archons and knowing when you need the Storm and to have the right mix of both. The amount of multitasking just controlling these clump of units has been excellent. Reavers in the front, not potentially ideal, but having the Archons flank them is really helpful. Protoss is really honed in on this being the position to break, and it's interesting because yes, there are some minerals here. This position though is unestablished, so I guess his attention will go back to knocking that down again if the need requires him to. I think he has enough econ power now to potentially hold him over, although this is mined out. Oh my gosh, this map has got so little resources on it. Protoss needs this base and has got to destroy this base or it's in real trouble, because Hawk has just got 2 sources of income and he only has 1. So once again, like every good Starcraft game, no matter how good the players are, it all actually just comes down to money at the end of the day. So 186 plays 115, so Hawk is holding on really tight here, but having that extra base is really going to help him because Protoss' ability to reinforce is just going to get weaker and weaker, despite the fact that he does have a little bit of a bank right now. This is a really juicy fight. The Lurker spines have done so much work in this game, but the Archons are getting on top of them. A lot of Dragoons really in this composition anymore. And also very few Hydras in the Zerg composition. It's kind of become a Ling Lurker with Defiler support from our Zerg. More Lings moving in this side, a couple more Hydras as well. Looks like he's going to just try and continuously reinforce his position from the top down. You can see the waves coming from all of the various hatches because this is it. This position is so critical. They're getting a little bit stuck here on the bridge. A beautiful storm on the bridge, killing all of the Hydras that were coming down there. And here it is. This is the position. A lot of Reavers here. Once the Reavers are established in this position and they have units to body block for them, it's going to make Zerg's life really difficult to take them down. There's 3 Reavers here, 2-0. Beautifully done by Hawk, picking off all 3 Reavers, and now target firing down the High Templars. 116 plays 96. Literally a minute ago, we had about a 70 supply gap between these 2 players. It's now come right down, and yes, our Protoss player has re-macroed up a whole stack of units as I was speaking, but he's running out of money. He's got this base, and that's it. Hawk has this position. Yes, there's only a handful of drones here. Hawk has this position, and it's healthy, and it's flying. So, Protoss has got this, and that's that. He has unemployed workers here, and he has, to my surprise, not tried to take this base. Maybe while continuously pressuring and forcing Hawk to hold this position, taking this base had to be the play. You can see the Overlord here is positioned here to see exactly when he tries to do this, because Hawk knows that's where his reactions are going to need to be. But is this game really just going to come down to the fact that this Protoss player has not tried to or been able to establish this base, and that Hawk has been able to hold this one despite it being attacked probably 6, maybe even 8 times in this game to date? It's also simplified Hawk's plan, really, in terms of what he's needed to do. He's just constantly been reinforcing and flank attacking any attempts to take this base. And here we go again, although this Hydra's got to get out of here. They're hopelessly outnumbered. It pulls back to the safety of the Lurkers. Drones, no, run! Okay, so the drones are going another way. They're like, no, no, we're not going this way. A couple of Scourge here, maybe to take down some shuttles? Nope. Okay. Quite know where he built the Scourge for, we should find out soon. Here comes a shuttle. Oh no, but he didn't see the Reavers! Oof! Nice shot there. He's gonna get a few drones, I think. Oh no, drone massacre! Drone massacre! Ow! This is such good micro. This is such good Starcraft. Oh man. And pick him up! He got him. Okay, so moving in to take on this base once more. Lots of Lurkers here. 172 plays 114. That one mining base is kind of all he needs to sustain him. Killing a lot of drones here on these attacks and on these harassments on this base is really good, because the hatch is there, but if no drones are mining the minerals, it doesn't really matter all that much. So that's why the continuous Reaver drop harassment at the top and trying to just kill this base at the bottom seems to be what this Protoss player is doing. Just Lings, Plague, so Ling, Lurker, Defiler, with a little bit of Hydra sprinkled in there, and it has worked a charm to try and hold these positions. Okay, so moving into this base, I didn't even actually count this as minerals because there's so few left, but there are a few drones here and a couple of hatcheries, so always valuable for Protoss to knock down production capacity. Like I said before, a little bit unique. You can kill a base of Zergs and reduce the number of hatches. Always helps you. There's never ever ever a downside. Where if you kill a Terran base with a command center and no minerals at it, there's just actually no value. Whereas here there's value because you're reducing the production capacity. Ore drops. So once again, he cannot establish this base. Every time he gets mining here, the Reaver drops are so good. The Lurkers are positioned, but he drops them out of range and then shoots onto them, which is incredibly good. I don't know how he's doing that without an observer, but he doesn't seem to be too worried about where the Lurkers are placed. Maybe Hawk needs to move a Lurker here, perhaps. Just missing a trick there, potentially. Got a shuttle here with nothing in it, but is flying around, constantly keeping pressure. So once again, centering his attention around the top and the bottom and not trying to take this base. Oh man, this is it. I think this is his attempt though. That Archon just about evaporated. There are so many Lurkers here. Only one observer, so he's pretty vulnerable to the snipe. Although I don't... There we go. He's going to snipe the observer. He does. That is really, really huge now, because I don't think these Lurkers can see... I don't think these Protoss units can see these Lurkers, which was really, really important for him. He needed more than one observer in this fight, which was why that snipe was such a good move by Hawk. He has to pull away. Really, really good play. Okay, so this is up and running again. Only 35 drones, but at least they all have work. The work account for Protoss is basically academic, because most of them are doing nothing. He's really running out of money here. This is becoming absolutely critical, so he's going to bring some Lurkers into this position. Looks like Hawk is going, well, maybe harassing your base with only 3 cannons and a Defiler might be the way to go. Let's see. Alright, so the Lurkers are in play, the Archons are in play. Where is your observer? You need an observer. Okay, so the observer is in the production tab, but you need more than one. All Hawk needs to do is pick off your observer with a couple of Hydras. You go back to square one, Mr. Protoss. Okay, so this is a little bit safer now. He's got the Scourge here to kill a shuttle. He's got the Overlord to scout in case it's a DT, for example. Got the Hydras here, he's got the Lurkers here. I think this position is now nicely protected. And here comes the advance on this base yet one more time. I think this is going to be the deciding moment. Here they'll come in again. Does he pick off the observer again this time? I think he's going to babysit this observer. Nice shot. Good Plague though, but they're mainly Archons that are Plague, which doesn't really help too much. The Reaver's energy going down will be beneficial. He doesn't have a lot of mobile units, and he seems to be taking his time before deciding to flank. In other words, he's going to flank all at once. So here we go, trying to pick off these High Templars from the back. He hasn't really thrown off any storms here. The Dark Swarm helps even more, although the only real counter that these are going to do are all splash. The Dark Swarm is not really going to help too much. Those Hydras are stormed into oblivion. Beautifully done. Good micro from both those. The Reavers have kind of remained unharassed in the front. We only have 3 Lurkers left, and that is it. There's literally nothing else to go. Hawk is really on his last legs. He's got 82 supply, 25 drones. His drones have been wrecked here by those Reavers. He's had to pull a few away. He's had to stop mining, so he's got no real money. Protoss though really has to make this count too though, because he's probably running out of cash. What a game this has been. It is so competitive and been so close, literally fighting about these 2 positions for easily the last 10-15 minutes. This has really been a clinic from both players. This Reaver's going to get picked off, and he has the 2 Lurkers remaining. He's probably going to start mining again. What does Protoss have left? He's sending in a couple of Zealots. There is still the Observer. He's managed to keep him alive, which I think is good play. It's probably just too much Protoss here now. I think this is probably going to break off. A valiant effort to hold this base all along. Still never any attempt from the Protoss to take this position. He's in. His Observer needs to move into place to try and kill this last Lurker. He's going to storm the Lurker. Well done. He's probably got some spare storms as well. That Lurker goes down, and now this base is totally unprotected. Here comes the last of the Lynx to try and take this fight on the counter. The Archon is the right call, but he's still morphing in, which means these goons are really vulnerable against the Lings. So he's probably going to clean this up. A good storm, but also a pretty decent storm dodge. There's the last High Templar left, and that's it. Hawk holds on. Unbelievable. 59 out of 160, only 22 drones, but he holds on. This position I think is pretty safe. He's still mining. Our Protoss is now out of money. He's got 26 minerals left. That is it. He has to kill Hawk with what he has left, which is what? What does he have left? He has a few Zealots, he has a few High Templars, and that's it. Hawk is still able to build because he's got 2 mining bases. He's sending down a few Hydras. And this has been absolutely incredible. He has absorbed so much Protoss pressure in this game, and he has managed to hold this position, and he's managed to continuously re-establish this position. I think the only thing I would say about our Protoss player is that never at any point did he try and take this base behind all this pressure, and that is probably what's going to end up losing him this game. And that is it. Boa taps out. Hawk wins what was probably one of the highest quality PvZs I have ever had the privilege of bringing to you. I'm Rabbit Drew, a variety Broodwar caster. If you enjoyed this game, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, ciao for now.